You can fill a home with brand new things and still walk in one quiet evening, look around, and feel that it never quite came together. It is not messy. It is not old. It just feels a little unfinished, the way a sentence stops before its last word. So let's walk through a home together, room by room, and quietly point out the small things that hold a space back, and the easy fix for each one. Several cost nothing but an afternoon and a little attention. Let's start where you start, in the main room. The first thing your eye does in a room is look for a story in the colors. And the most common thing that trips a room up is not a bad color. It is one color repeated in the exact same shade over and over. The same soft blue on the pillows, in the vase, in the frame on the wall. Each was fine on its own. Together they flatten because your eye reads one note held too long. The fix is not to buy more. It is to let that color breathe across different depths and materials. If you love green, let one piece be a deep forest velvet, another a soft sage linen, another a warm ceramic. Same family, different weights. That is what turns a matched room into a collected one. And collected is the feeling we are after throughout. The same idea saves you from the opposite trap, the room where nothing speaks to anything else, or the room where everything matches so perfectly it looks like it arrived on one truck on one day. The phrase to keep is simple. Mix, do not match. Choose one piece you love as your anchor, the sofa, the rug, or the bed. Then gather things around it that relate without being identical. Different shapes tied together by a shared wood tone. Different patterns tied together by one quiet color. Let one shade repeat softly from room to room, like a thread pulling the house together, and it will feel connected without ever looking staged. And if you are worrying about the wood, let me settle the thing that trips most people up, because rigid rules only cause trouble. If you have those cool, gray-toned floors so many homes were given a few years back, you do not have to fight them or replace them. A warm, medium wood table settles them beautifully, and so does a piece in soft black. You want balance, not opposites. Warm and cool leaning gently against each other is what makes both look intentional. If this is already changing how you look at your own rooms, a quick tap on the like helps more than you would think. It is how these calm little walkthroughs find other people fixing up their homes. Now the walls, because this is where a lot of good rooms quietly go generic, with art bought only to fill a space, grabbed at the checkout because the wall felt bare. I keep one rule for anything I hang, and it has never failed me. It should be beautiful, useful, or meaningful. The handmade piece from a place you remember, the photograph of someone you love, an object that makes you smile every time you pass it. Those earn the wall. The forgettable print does not, and somewhere in the back of your mind, the room knows. And a blank wall is not a failure, it is patience. Far better to leave it open a few months and wait for the right thing than to fill it with something that means nothing to you. When you do hang art, give it some life. A piece with depth, a frame with weight, a bit of dimension, catches the light and gives the wall a quiet shadow. A hard shadow can feel cold rather than warm, but that is almost never the art. It is light hitting it too straight on. Soften it or let it come from the side, and that same shadow reads as depth instead of harshness. A wall with dimension feels alive. A wall of flat, evenly lit prints feels like a catalog page. One honest note. Hang things at a height you can actually live with and reach. A lot of advice says to hang everything sky high, but a picture you crane your neck at, or a shelf you need a ladder to dust, stops being a pleasure. And if climbing up is not easy or safe for you anymore, there is no shame in having someone, a family member or a handy person, do that one small job. 2 things. A few things tend to sit unfinished in a main room. The first is the empty corner. Start with the empty corner, which makes the furniture feel like it is floating with nowhere to land. The most reliable fix is height. A tall plant, a slim floor lamp, a narrow shelf, anything that lifts the eye and softens that hard angle. The only exception is low ceilings, and plenty of older, well-loved homes have them, in which case you keep things lower and wider so the room feels roomier, not squeezed. While we are lifting the eye, do the same on the flat surfaces, the coffee table, the console, the mantle. A surface where everything sits at the same low height reads as clutter, even when each piece is lovely. The oldest trick there is a riser, a small stack of books, a little wooden or stone stand, a tray that gathers a few things and lifts them. Work in threes, something low, something medium, something tall, and let a riser create that middle height for you. It is the difference between objects scattered on a table and a small arrangement that looks placed on purpose. Then there are the windows. Curtains that stretch flat across the glass like a tight bedsheet, quietly read as unfinished, almost always because the panels are too narrow to gather. As a rule of thumb, the fabric across your window should measure about 2 to 2.5 times the width of the window itself, and that extra fabric is what folds into the soft, generous pleats that make a window look considered. If you already own panels and do not want to spend a penny more, clip rings let you hang and gather what you have without cutting anything, and you can layer a second inexpensive pair behind for fullness. While your eye is near the windows, let's talk about light, because it does more for a room than almost anything else and is often the cheapest thing to change. So many homes wear the builder's defaults in every room at once: the plain dome light, the flat mirror, the same recessed lights everywhere. None is wrong on its own. The trouble is the sameness, the way it makes a home feel like it could belong to anyone. You do not replace it all. You swap the 2 or 3 you actually notice, starting with light. A real fixture where a plain one used to be. A warmer bulb, around 2700 Kelvin, that soft honey-colored light instead of the cold blue kind, matched through the house so the whole place glows the same tone. And in an older home with few outlets, you do not need to rewire anything. A lovely plug-in lamp or sconce does the same work. One thing that quietly ties a home together is letting your metals and finishes relate. You do not need everything to match. Matching every knob, hinge, and lamp can feel flat. But pick one finish to lead: warm brass, soft black, brushed nickel, and let it repeat. Then add just one other as a gentle accent. 2 finishes chosen on purpose look designed. 5 by accident look like whatever was on the shelf that day, and try not to light a room from a single source overhead. 1 ceiling light casts everything flat and a little harsh. The warmth you see in a well-done room comes from layering: a lamp on a side table, a taller lamp across the room, maybe a soft glow down low, so the light lands at different heights instead of pouring straight down. Put a few of these on a simple dimmer and the same room shifts from bright and useful in the afternoon to calm and golden at night. Here is a small thing that makes a far bigger difference than it should. Scale your lamps to whatever they sit beside. A tiny lamp next to a tall headboard or a big sofa looks a little lost, no matter what it cost. Give it presence to match its neighbor and the whole corner looks planned. That is not about spending, it is about proportion, and proportion is free. Since we have drifted toward the bedroom, a quick word on the bed itself, because this is where good advice often goes wrong. You do not need a mountain of pillows you pile on the floor each night to sleep well. A pair you actually use, 1 accent cushion, and a throw folded across the foot is plenty, and it looks calmer than a bed stage for a photograph. If you like a fuller look, large square shams behind your sleeping pillows do it without the clutter. A bench or low stool at the foot finishes the room, though if your bed sits low, keep that piece low too so it stays in proportion rather than towering over it. Now think about how a room feels, not how it looks, because this is the one almost nobody thinks of. When everything is smooth and hard, the sleek table, the slick synthetic fabric, the shiny surfaces, a space can feel strangely cold even when nothing in it is cheap. What is missing is touch. We are wired to read texture. Think of a forest, the rough bark, the soft moss, the smooth stone. All of it together is part of why nature feels calming. A room works the same way. You do not need to redo a thing. You layer a few natural, tactile pieces back in. A rug with weave and weight. A piece of real wood. Linen instead of a slick synthetic. A woven basket. A living plant, a stone or ceramic bowl. You are not aiming for everything natural, only a mix, and shifting a room so a third of it has real texture changes how the whole space feels. None of it has to be costly. If you are enjoying walking the house this way, come with me, subscribe, and I will do one of these with you every week, room by room. That leads straight into honesty in your materials. This is not about faux things in general, it is about bad imitations of natural ones. The heavily veined fake marble that looks like a photo of marble. The printed plastic pretending to be wood grain. The artificial plant that fools no one across the room. We catch these quickly because we spend our lives around real wood and stone and growing things, whose beauty lives in tiny imperfections. So when a pattern is too loud or too perfect, something in us reads not real before we can even say why. This has nothing to do with price. A simple, well-made surface happy being exactly what it is always feels better than a cheap one straining to look grander. A quiet laminate content to be laminate beats fake marble trying to convince you. One or two convincing faux pieces mixed with real, tactile things are completely fine. Good quality faux greenery has its place. The trouble only begins when everything is pretending at once. Before you buy something that imitates a natural material, ask one honest question. Would this fool me from a few feet away? If not, pass on it. Before the heart of it, one thing the glossy videos leave out, because your real life matters more than any styling trick. A home has to work on an ordinary Tuesday, not just in a photograph. Style your bed with what you will actually sleep in, not a mountain of pillows you move to the floor every night. If you pull a chair off the wall, do not turn its back on a view you love to do it. If you mount a television, keep it at a height you can watch comfortably from your own sofa. Not so high it puts a crick in your neck. And plan where the cords in the box will hide that little connection box will live before you drill a hole. Single hole. A cord channel down the wall. Or a nearby cabinet for the box so you are not stuck with it later. And if a room is small or a bed is low, you scale the idea down to fit rather than forcing it. The goal was never a magazine. It is a home that is easy and pleasant to live in. There is one more thing worth naming because it undoes all the rest if you let it, and that is clutter. It rarely arrives all at once. It gathers a little at a time until a surface you love is carrying more than it can hold. And a room working that hard can never feel calm. The fix is not a bare showroom home that feels cold. It is a few quiet systems, a tray to corral the small everyday things, a basket that hides the ordinary mess, a drawer allowed to be the messy one. And be gentle about it. This is not about throwing things out. What leaves can be donated or passed to someone who will use it. A shelf of books you actually read is not clutter. It is a life. Keep that. Which brings us to the one thing underneath all of it. More than color, more than light, more than any object. The reason a home feels unfinished is that it feels thrown together, filled in a hurry to be done rather than shaped with care. That is the quiet thread through everything we have walked through. The filler art. The whole set bought in one afternoon. The pieces that never spoke to each other. And here is the freeing truth to leave with. You can have inexpensive furniture that feels rich if it was chosen with thought, and costly furniture that feels flat if it was not. The care behind the choices matters more than the price on any of them. Thoughtful choices are quiet ones. Knowing why a piece is there, considering how you actually live in the room, being willing to leave a space open until the right thing finds you. None of that asks for money or a designer. It only asks you to slow down enough to choose on purpose. Because a room put together in a rush feels cold no matter what it cost. And one put together with care feels like home no matter how little it cost. The warmth you have been chasing was never for sale. It comes from paying attention. And if the whole list feels like a lot, here is where to begin. Fix the lighting first because it changes a room faster than anything and costs the least. Then clear and edit what is piled up, which costs nothing at all. Then bring in one honest textured piece you love as an anchor. Those three alone carry most of the way, and everything else can wait until the right thing at the right price quietly finds you. So do not try to fix all of this at once. Pick the one thing that has quietly been bothering you, change it this week, live with it, and let the next one wait. Slow and thoughtful is how a house becomes the home you want to stay in for a long time. I would love to know which of these you saw in your own rooms and which one you will start with. Tell me in the comments. There is no wrong answer, and honestly, we have all lived with a few of these. If this helped you see your rooms differently, stay with me here. I share these calm, no-pressure ideas every week. And if you would like a simple room-by-room checklist to walk your own home the way we just did, it is in the description. Take good care of your space. It has a way of taking care of you right back. And if you want the other side of this, the small, inexpensive details that quietly make a home look designer, that is the video waiting for you on screen. It surprised a lot of people. Go see which ones your home is missing.